Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Chance Cubes game commentary videos. As always, it's your host Nate here again. Sit back, relax, and enjoy another video. So this week we have Michael on the left-hand side running an eRey, eAckbar deck, and myself on the left running eDooku, eJabba. So let's get into the action. We see that both players dealing out their cards, rolling out their dice. Michael was playing the Jedi Temple battlefield, and I was bringing Frozen Wastes. So it looks like Michael rolled 4, and I rolled 6. So I win the roll, and I choose Frozen Wastes as the battlefield. So Michael gets to take his 2 shields. Probably going to throw them on Rey, just because she's a little bit more important to the deck. If I remember how Michael was running this correctly, I think it was trying to use eAckbar as a support character similar to a Luke eAckbar deck. Michael just didn't have Luke, so he switched in Luke for Rey and was able to run both characters at 2 dice. It's a little less swingy doing it that way because Luke has some pretty big damage sides on him. I mulligan for 4, so as I take my sweet time over there, we'll see what I end up playing, and I wonder who Michael's texting. Too bad we don't know. So it looks like the action is starting. I play 2 resources for talking instead of playing for a force choke on Count Dooku. The Dooku Jabba deck that I'm running was primarily a control-ish deck. The main concept behind it was trying to use Ace in the Hole in order to roll out Crime Lord to get 4 resource reduction in cost. Michael rolls in eAckbar, gets a blank and a resource side. I roll in Jabba the Hutt, and I get a blank and a 2 discard. I use Jabba's ability to reroll that blank, and I get a focus side, so a pretty good roll. Anytime you can get some discard going with this Jabba Dooku deck, it pays off in the long run. It can win through discard. It's not its primary focus, but it is a thing. So I go ahead and spend my 2 there to take 2 random cards, and I hit a Luke's lightsaber and a lightsaber. So probably what Michael was gaining that resource for was to play one of those, and I was able to hit both of them. So he just has to settle for rolling in Rey, getting a 2 damage modifier and a blank. So then I go ahead, activate Count Dooku, and roll a blank on the force choke, a resource, and a resource. So this deck is always happy to see resources. Can't complain too much. Michael plays Patience and gets rid of 3 dice to mill me for 3. I think he has a Force Throw, a Thermal Detonator, and an Immobilize. So 3 really good upgrades for the deck, especially the Immobilize. Being able to control dice is awesome. So Michael claims to remove the Jabba dice, and I play another Force Choke on Dooku. Probably gonna just pass here. I might discard a couple things. I don't remember what was in my hand this game. And as you can see, I'm debating, do I want to keep stuff? And I end up just keeping everything and readying. I could have rolled the Force Choke a couple more times to potentially get 1 damage, potentially get the Disrupt side, maybe a discard, but nothing really flashy. It's mostly there for the dice control, and if I have no dice to control, it's probably better to keep what I have in my hand. So Michael leads off the turn. He plays 2 resources. I questioned him to make sure that he gained his resources, and I'm pretty sure he did. So it looks like he drew into another lightsaber. He throws that onto Rey. in order to get a good upgrade out and to get another action with her ability. And it looks like he's gonna pay 1 resource and play Scout on Leia to get another action from her and another upgrade on her. So the more dice that you're able to roll on Rey, the better. He ends up activating an eAckbar, rolling a blank and a discard. I pay 1 for a data pad on Jabba. Much less to do on my turn than throwing upgrades on Rey and gaining all those extra actions. Michael activates Rey here and rolls out a special on the Scout. Looks like a 1 resource, a +1 resource, and another discard. So he's showing 2 discard sides plus the Scout, so potentially able to really hit my hand hard and get a lot of good cards out of it. I think I had rolled a discard on Jabba. I'm not 100% sure, but I decided to re-roll the dice. And I ended up rolling a 2 resource disruption, which Michael has no resources, so it's pretty useless right now. And the data pad was blank, which it is what it is. Michael hits me for 2 discards and hits a mind probe. And I don't know what the other card was, but 2 cards out of my hand with him running eAckbar is always dangerous. It's fewer rerolls that I can do. A lot of things that my deck is trying to do resolve around cards, so getting rid of them is key. I rolled out Dooku, got a special, a 2 discard for 1 and a 2 damage. Michael claims some resources, so he probably has some tricks that he wants to try playing. And I don't want him hitting cards out of my hand, so I end up using the Force Choke to deal a damage to Rey and switch the Scout dice to a blank. If he had had those blanks out earlier and I was able to feel your anger, that would have been good. I could have prevented him from getting some resources, other stuff, but as you can see, Michael's deck is quite a bit faster. He's able to resolve a lot more stuff, whereas I'm still sitting on 6 dice, which is good and bad. Since I'm running Frozen Waste, he's able to get rid of potentially good dice. We see Michael plays Patience again to mill me for 2 more and hits both of my Feel Your Angers, which is not what I want to happen. So I do 2 damage to eAckbar. I like to try and burn eAckbar down early, just because I like to discard to reroll, and I hate having eAckbar's ability just kind of hanging out there. Michael claims and gets rid of my 2-for-1 Dooku dice. I use the focus on Jabba in order to switch into the discard on him to get rid of Michael's last 2 cards, thinking if he didn't want me to discard his cards with the Dooku dice, they're probably pretty good. It looks like I hit at least a Mind Probe. I don't know what the other card was that Michael happened to discard. So going on to the next turn, we're both sitting at 3 resources, drawn back up to 5 cards. I'm going through my deck pretty quick here. I know that I wasn't getting the Crime Lord Ace in the Hole stuff, and I was digging for it because I knew that I was going to have a tough time killing Rey if and when Michael was able to get some damage going and potentially take out Jabba or Dooku. So I was trying to get my combo set up as early as possible, and it was fighting me on it. So Michael plays Hit and Run, rolls the dice. Right before he rolls, I noticed that he had 3 dice there and had picked up the Scout dice from Rey. So he just takes it out, puts it back where it's supposed to go, and still rolls in the eAckbar. Gets a resource and a 2 focus, which is really, really good. Especially with Rey and the lightsaber, it lets him fix a lot of the potential bad sides on Rey. such as rolling a blank on Ray or a resource on a lightsaber. He can fix both of those into some pretty big damage right here. And I play a holocron, so apparently I did not have an answer in hand to any of the stuff that Michael had rolled out. Would have been nice to have one of those feel your angers to get rid of the focus from eAckbar, but instead Michael's able to spend it trying to figure out what he's going to do with it. He was looking at what sides he had and how much potential damage he could deal here. It's a pretty big swing that he can do, especially if he's able to switch a lot of dice into modifier sides so that all of his damage is coming through one action on Dooku. It means that I can only discard one card to prevent it. So it's in his benefit to have modified sides with one black damage side. The other option is he doesn't really care if I discard a bunch of cards down to prevent damage because he has eAckbar alive still, so if he's able to drain my hand, he's just going to hit me with eAckbar later on anyways. So, not looking too good. I electroshock the modifier. If I'd had the electroshock, I probably should have electroshocked eAckbar's dice. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was worried that Michael was going to spend the scout special and hit the holocron in my hand. And so I tried to get it out of hand first. So we see Michael here playing close quarters assault to discard 2 cards, thankfully not 3 from my hand. And it looks like he hits a Force Throw and a Crime Lord. So not looking too good for some of my combo pieces. He keeps hitting them all and leaving me with nothing in my hand for rerolls because of eAckbar's ability there, which I might have to just eat it if I don't have good rolls or if he's able to control my dice in some way, because my deck hasn't really been doing anything and he's been milling me out harder than I've been milling myself. Or been milling him, actually. So he uses the scout, hits the last card out of my hand, and triggers eAckbar. So, all in all, a pretty bad turn hand-wise for me. So I roll in Dooku. I have no rerolls because I have no cards in hand. I have 1 focus on eJabba, but it can only fix 1 dice. So Michael ends up getting 3-for-1 damage side resolved on the lightsaber to put 3 more damage on eJabba, putting him at 6 damage. I am trying to figure out what to do. I think I pay to discard 4 from Michael's hand. Just thinking, I'm running out of cards really quickly. I need to get him out of cards. Otherwise, I'm going to mill myself out and he's going to sit there not really doing a whole lot of damage. He has 6 on eJabba, but not looking like I'm in a good spot right now. Michael's trying to figure some stuff out. I think he probably is going to want to claim here. It depends on how bad he needs the resource. If he's able to claim, he can remove the eJabba dice or the Dooku dice to prevent either damage or me switching a dice into something else. So he ends up removing the eJabba dice. I use the data pad to discard his 2 resources by switching a Force Choke. And then I resolve 1 more damage to eAckbar. So I have 3 damage on eAckbar, 1 on Ray, but she still has 2 shields, and my eJabba's sitting at 6. So overall, Michael's been able to put a big amount of damage into eJabba without me really being able to do much against him. Which, when you're playing against a control mill deck, is always a good thing. And as you see both of our decks over there, it looks like I have fewer cards, which is also a good thing to see when you're playing against a mill deck, to see them with fewer cards in their deck. So I'm looking to see what all I've played, what options I have. Maybe I have something that I can do here to dig myself out of this game. Michael hit and runs. Looks like he's going to activate eAckbar. Get the eAckbar dice out. And he rolls the 2 focus side and the 1 resource side. And then he brings in Ray right after that. So pretty similar to last turn. And he gets a special on a lightsaber, a +2 modifier on Ray. I think that's a 1 discard on Ray and a focus on the scout. So I am looking to take probably close to lethal damage on Jabba here. In 1 or 2 actions if I can't do something to get rid of some of these dice. So I pay 1 to play Isolation, removing the eAckbar dice. So that should buy me an extra action or 2 because he can't resolve enough right now to kill Jabba. He still has the 1 focus on the scout, so he can use that to chain into eAckbar's 2 focus and end up getting quite a bit of damage through. But it buys me a little bit of time, which is what I needed. I don't want to lose Jabba in 1 activation, which is what I could have been looking at. So Michael switches the Ray dice, to a damage side. So Jabba is gonna be taking 3 damage from Ray, potentially putting him at 9, which means that the lightsaber will kill him. So I activate Jabba, roll my dice in, get a blank on one of the Jabba dice, so I'm probably re-rolling that with his ability, and I have a resource modifier, and a focus. Michael plays another close quarters assault to hit 2 more cards out of my hand, gets a lightsaber and something else. So it doesn't look like he's too worried about resolving his damage, probably thinking that, if you can get the cards out of my hand quickly, maybe you hit the ways I have to get rid of those dice. I disrupt his resources. He hits me for 3. I end up taking 2 resources knowing that Jabba's going to die and I'm not going to have a chance to use the focus on that holocron. So Jabba bites the dust. So Michael has been able to do 11 damage, kill Jabba, before I'm able to take out either one of his characters. The deck I'm running is not a huge damage swinging deck, so that's not surprising, but it's not good to lose a key component to the deck that early in the game. So I roll out Dooku, get a blank, 2 for 1 disrupt, a 1 disrupt on a 4 stroke, and a 2 resource destruction. Michael claims here to remove the Dooku dice. I discard in order to re-roll. I keep the 1 discard from the Force Choke, potentially to try and get rid of some more stuff out of Michael's hands. So I go ahead and use that. I hit a Leadership, which is always a good card to get rid of. I deal 1 more damage to eAckbar, and I deal another damage to eAckbar and switch his dice to the 2 focus side, because why not? He's already claimed. It doesn't matter. So eAckbar is sitting at 5 damage, so within killable distance. I'm on 6 resources, so if I can draw into a Crime Lord and an Ace in the Hole, I potentially have that trick up my sleeve where I can get rid of Ray at the end of a turn. So that's probably what I'm trying to draw into and get going, because if I can do that, I can probably deal with an eAckbar that doesn't have any upgrades on him, especially since I have a fully healthy Dooku and cards to discard for shields. So Michael activates eAckbar, gets 2 resources. So potentially the least bad sides on eAckbar right now. I pay 3 to get a lightsaber on Dooku, so I probably didn't have the combo pieces I needed So I figured, okay, if I don't have the combo, let's try and get some damage going. Since, I've been sitting around flailing my arms, not doing damage. Michael plays one for use the force to switch one of his dice to any side and switches the eAckbar to 2 focus. I activate Dooku in response to that. Roll some pretty good dice there. I roll a bunch of the mill sides on Dooku, the 3-for-1 damage side on the lightsaber, a resource from the choke, and a special from the other choke. So I potentially, based on what Michael's able to do, have the killing damage on eAckbar showing. So I use the Force Choke special to switch the eAckbar dice. When Michael had rolled in the Ray, he got some resources, some modifier damage, and a discard side. So he pays 1 for Commando Raid, which he realizes has to target a red dice. He was trying to hit Ray's, discard side to try and mill me out of cards right here, and put me in a pretty bad situation and get some stuff going with eAckbar. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Instead, he plays defensive stance to get 2 shields on eAckbar, which keeps eAckbar alive. I can't resolve the 3 damage side, so I probably should have resolved the damage from the lightsaber first, knowing that the choke was unpreventable, but I was more worried about him getting into some better dice sides and being able to do stuff. I used the 2-for-1 discard side and hit Michael for 2 cards, so he has 1 card left in hand. I was thinking it gives me a way to keep him from being able to reroll. So Michael resolves resources. He just takes the 2 from the lightsaber and the scout. I point out that he has the eAckbar one in case he wants to get 3 resources, and he does. So he gets his 3 resources, goes back over to me, and I play a card. Maybe. What am I doing? The suspense. I am playing my own Use the Force and switching one of Dooku's dice to a 2 damage side, which means that I can get through eAckbar's shields until he field medics and heals eAckbar, putting him again out of reach of Count Dooku. But I gotta keep going, so I do 5 damage to eAckbar, which puts him at 7, so he's 2 health away from death, but just out of reach. I probably should have gotten all the cards out of Michael's hand there. I missed my chance to have lethal damage on eAckbar. So Michael claims I don't have any dice to remove, but I had no dice left, so it guarantees that he gets to go first, and we draw back up into our hands. We're both getting really low on cards right here, and it looks like eAckbar should die this turn. I have 3 cards left in my deck, plus the 5 in hand, so I can draw this game out slightly, and I have Dooku kitted out with some pretty good stuff that'll get through the shields and can hopefully kill eAckbar this turn, since I failed on that last turn. So let's see. Michael goes first. Looks like he's going through some of his cards, probably trying to figure out what he can do to keep eAckbar alive just a little bit longer. If he's able to keep him alive, there's a lot of discard stuff and a lot of other things that he can get going. Instead, he puts Force Protection on Ray to gain an extra action out of the deal. And what would have been nice there is if he could have played a lightsaber on eAckbar, get eAckbar rolled in, and potentially have some more actions and stuff that he can do, and then get the redeploy on the lightsaber. That could I could have really put a hurting on Dooku. And so for his extra action, he plays 1 to field medic eAckbar again. So putting him just that much further out of reach. I activate Dooku, and I get a special on both Force Chokes, a 1 damage side on Dooku, a special on the lightsaber, and a 2-for-1 discard on Dooku. So the special sides are really good right now on the chokes and the lightsaber because they're enough damage to kill eAckbar, and I can do it in 1 activation. Instead, I discard 2 cards from Michael's hand, and I hit an all-in and a deflect, so not bad, but at the same time, I had lethal damage showing on eAckbar, and I didn't use it. That's not necessarily what you want to do in that situation. I was thinking maybe he has some way to get rid of something, but he didn't, and I missed a chance to just take out eAckbar right there. Possibly I was waiting to see what Rey rolls out in case I wanted to use the chokes on her, but it's not really, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to use the chokes on her. The other option is I do 1 melee damage and save a choke for Rey, but when I have an option to just kill Dooku or to kill eAckbar, I probably should have taken it. I think that was a misplay slightly on my part there. You never know. Maybe at the time I was thinking something different. So I deal 1 damage to eAckbar, and Michael discard to scout in order to reroll all of his dice. Potentially get something out, get something going. It does mean that I'm going to be able to do all of my stuff without much fear of it. So I do 2 damage to eAckbar with the lightsaber special, 1 from the Force Choke, and then I deal 1 from the other Force Choke to Rey in order to turn 1 of her dice to another side. I think I turn the scout to a different side, mainly because I'm worried about milling myself, and I'm not necessarily too concerned about the damage sides. I think I might have a way to get rid of a dice if needed, and then I think, wait, no, I would rather not take damage, and I just switch which sides it is that I use the Force Choke on. We'd still been cleaning up board state, so it didn't affect anything. I probably should have done it a little bit better, but so Michael is looking through my hand from the scout, and I go ahead and use my action to claim, removing his 1 resource. He has a 1 resource disruption left and 2 blanks with no cards in hand. So he could get rid of 1 of my resources. Probably a good thing to do. But the other dice aren't going to do anything. So being able to claim and get my dice in early is probably the best option here. Michael gets rid of the ace in the hole. I think it was the lowest cost card. I don't think it was necessarily my best card. And then he uses the resource disruption to get rid of 1 of my resources. And we draw back up to 5, which means I get to draw 1 card, because I am trying my best to hold the cards in my hand and not run myself out of stuff. Michael's getting pretty low in his deck too. I think he has 4 cards left. I have the 5 in my hand plus 2 in my deck. So I'm thinking, okay, if I can roll decently well with Dooku here, I can get the disrupt sides. I also have options on the Force Chokes to get the disrupt sides in. So I have ways to mill him out this turn. All I have to do is survive to the end of the turn with a full health Dooku, and with enough cards potentially in hand to prevent damage, not worried that I'm going to get rid of everything that I have left because of the 2 cards that are still sitting over there in my deck. So I'm not worried. I think I have this game in the bag, but with Destiny, you never know until the last dice roll is done and the cards are all out on the table. So Michael's sitting here, I think, trying to figure out what he can do to hold off Dooku, get either some damage done, or try and get enough cards out of my deck to get everything dead. So it is looking pretty close. So I pay 2 and play Abandon All Hope, knowing that there's no way Michael can get rid of all of the cards in his hand, so he has to get rid of his resources. Just trying to put him in a position where he can't pay for the lightsaber side, and he also can't play anything from his hand. I think he'd already played the 2 field medics, but just in case. So Michael rolls the Scout special, the Force Protection special, modifier side on the lightsaber, a blank, and a resource on Rey. So he can get a card out of my hand with the Scout, but the Force Protection, he has 2 shields already, so as long as I leave the shields on him, that is just a 1 shield side in essence. So I roll out Dooku, I get some resources, some resource disruption, 2 damage from Dooku, and a special on the lightsaber. So Michael hits me with the Scout, looking through my hand. I think I had finally gotten Crime Lord and Ace in the Hole, both in my hand at one point in time now. I think he might have already hit the Ace in the Hole the previous turn, but I have some damage showing. I can whittle away at Rey. I can't kill her right now. He gets rid of a He Doesn't Like You. Looks like I have a holocron and some other stuff in hand. He wasn't worried about the holocron because I'm not going to replace any of my current upgrades with a holocron. So there's not really a reason for me to do anything with it. I think I'm trying to debate on whether or not I want to discard to reroll, or if I just want to hit him, and I try and discard to reroll to get some of those discard sides, hopefully being able to get rid of Michael's hand this turn, so that we don't have to worry about going to another turn. So Michael is trying to figure out what to do. I think he needs to reroll here, but that isn't necessarily a great option. So he does end up rerolling. Rerolls everything, gets discard sides on his dice, a shield, and a modified resource. So I discard a Crime Lord, trying to roll into some mill effects here. I get a focus on Dooku and a damage side. The problem here is he can potentially just claim before I can completely mill him out. I go ahead and use the 2 on the Force Choke to get rid of 2 cards. And Michael still has 3 dice left. He's not going to discard to reroll. And he potentially is in a position where the focus will hurt him. So he ends up claiming. And I explain, do you want to get rid of the focus side, or do you want to get rid of the damage side? The damage side will at least prevent something. The focus, I'm not really going to spend it, because it's just going to soak the shields anyway. So I end up just doing 2 past the shields with the lightsaber. I draw my last 2 cards. Michael has his last card in his hand. So we're trying to remember what the actual tiebreaker rules are. We actually had played this game
Did you lose?
No, it's at the end. Without knowing what they actually were,
The start of the next
I had thought at the time that it was total damage done and damage on characters, so we both pretty much knew that we were going to mill each other out here.
If we were both out of cards.
Neither of us had necessarily enough to kill each other, so as you see, Michael's able to have enough to mill me out. I in turn mill him out with my Dooku dice, and so we're like, well, we thought at the time that it was damage on characters. So he uses his lightsaber special to do 2 to me. I use my force choke special to do 1 to him, and to resolve or to switch the dice side of one of his things. And what we forgot was that the actual tiebreaker rule here was whoever controls the battlefield. So what should have happened, and the way that this game should have ended, was that Michael mills me, I mill Michael, Michael claims, Michael wins. So, theoretically, in the outcome of this entire game, Michael is the winner. So, congrats to Michael for winning this game. At the time, we weren't really sure, so we were just kind of doing damage, and we kind of just laughed it up to, okay, we both have terrible decks that can't do damage. But thanks again, everybody, for sitting through what ended up being a mill fest. And that concludes another one of the Chance Cubes gameplay videos. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoy the Chance Cubes videos and you want to get more from us, please visit us at thechancecube.com. You can also join us and like us on Facebook at The Chance Cube, or you can follow us on Twitter at The Chance Cube. Till next time, everybody, may the Force be with you.